Hello, my crochet friends. Are you guys ready for a little square update? How many squares have I made since the last time I did this video? I got a whole table full of squares that are spilling over onto the floor. Hold on, watch. See all that? It's layered like 2 and 3 deep all the way, right? And then there's some on the floor. I have been so busy making squares. All right, it's my go-to thing to do during the day when I'm bored, when I'm all done my household chores, in between picking up the kids and dropping the kids off, when I feel like it, when Arlo wants me to sit and keep him company. At the end of the day, I make squares and it's fun and I enjoy it. So I have a lot of squares to go through. So we need to count them up as we go along so I won't forget because I've actually lost track of my overall total. So I have a little, right? We're going to write some notes. Patchwork. And granny. And corner to corner. So you guys like that corner to corner tutorial I did? It seems as though it wasn't too bad, right? I was so worried about it because it's not an easy thing to explain, but y'all got it. I told you. You guys are awesome. Okay, so these are in no particular order. This has just been the last couple weeks since the last time I did a squares update video. It took me a little while because I had a comment down in the comment section telling me that I was making too many square videos about squares and it was just the same thing over and over, and I let that comment get in my head, so, and I shouldn't do that, but I did. So let's see, my first batch right here is from Impeccable and their Orchid multicolor. I did 2 patchwork squares, 1 granny square. Oh, look at that, that came out cute. I really like this orchid color from Impeccable. I like that shade of brown with the purple and the pink. That is pretty. And then corner to corner. Okay, normally I make 2 corner to corner and 2 grannies, but I've also been switching it up where I just do 1 of each and then I'll go back later. So that's let me write that down real quick. Hold on. It's gonna be a lot of hold on today. 2, 1. And 1. All right. So we'll move this on over to. A lot of times I just throw it on over to the couch and then make it all nice and neat later. Okay, let's do another one from Impeccable from Loops and Threads. It's the glacier color. No, not glacier. Sage. It's the sage color. You know, I did 2 patchwork squares for this one, right? This is pretty. I like this. And then a granny square, and then a corner to corner square. Yeah, I'm liking these colors from Loops and Threads and Impeccable. Now, like, my local Michaels doesn't sell all these colors in the store. Then I had to go to a second Michaels, which is further away from my house, to get other colors. And then when I went to their website, it turns out there's even more that my store just doesn't have. And I like to have all the colors. So I wish the store would sell all the colors. If I spend too much time writing down notes, I'll cut it out in the edits, because that can happen sometimes. Oh, this one. This is called It's Really Hot on the Sun? No, that's not what it's called. Hot Sunshine Speckle. I was close, right? It's still, again, from Michaels, Loops and Threads, Impeccable. I loved working with this color. This is just so me. I loved it. So 2 patchwork squares. And a granny square. I know the granny square looks busy on the camera, but in real life, I just love it so much. And then the corner to corner. And because it's still like all the yarn's 100% acrylic, but this is the kind of acrylic that's got that little satiny feel to it. I really love the color on that. Let's see. 2 more. 1 more and 1 more. Okay, what's next? All right, let's do Hirschner's. Hirschner's, their worsted yarn, comes in a big 8-ounce skein. Is it? Where are my numbers? Yes, it's an 8-ounce skein that has 489 yards, and this color is Morning Dew. And I made 3 patchwork squares out of this one. So it's got the browns, greens, it's got some gray and white in there. So 3 patchwork squares. 1 granny square. And 1 corner to corner square. I do like this Hirschner's version of worsted weight yarn. They have really softened up the texture on this, so it was a pleasure to work with. So that's 3, 1, and 1. So I have another one from Hirschner's worsted yarn. Okay, this color is called Macchiato, and it's got multiple shades of brown and tans, and it's a yellowish color in there that's more of a creamy white than it is yellow, but it's got a lot of yellow undertones to it. I love this color. This one, it worked up so adorably. It actually reminds me of Arlo with his coloring a little bit, which is kind of weird that it reminds me of my cat. So I liked working with it so much, the color and the softness of the yarn, that I made a lot of squares when I sat down to work with this. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patchwork squares. Okay, here's my little stack of squares. And remember, my yarn tails, they mean something to me. That's why I leave them all out. Because I like all my squares oriented the same way, top to bottom, left and right. So it's just a me thing. But aren't they cute though? I just love that subtle hint of that little yellowish white that's in there. You love it. And then I did 2 granny squares. And then 2 corner to corner squares. Yeah, I really like how soft these worked out. And I love the color Macchiato, that I'm going to buy more of this so I can make a blanket out of it, because it's so adorable. I love it so much. So that's 2, 2, and 6. Okay, so now we're going to switch to Caron Simply Soft, and it's called Paints. Yes, and it is Oceana. Now, I found this on eBay, and I bought 3 skeins of it, but so far I've only made 2 patchwork squares out of it, and 1 granny square out of it. Oh, because this was the night that my size G hook was twisting around in its ergonomic handle, and I had to fix it, so I had to stop crocheting. So that's why I've only got 2 of the patchwork and 1 of the granny. So I bought this color because it goes along with this red color from Caron Simply Soft in their paints. I know they're not like a match, but they were released at the same time. Okay, and you know, I really liked how deep and dark and rich this red was, and I was hoping the blue was going to be the same, but since red's a warm color, blue's a cold color, that there is a little bit of a difference in them. But I still love them both individually equally and still have a lot of fun working with the yarn and making these squares. So that was 2 and 1 and 1 and a 0. Well, literally writing the 0 in there. Yes. Seems as though I've been spending a lot of time at Michael's because I've got more loops and threads. It is their soft classic version and it's called Fiesta Multi, but it's just a happy little rainbow. All right. So I made 3 patchwork squares out of this and I am loving the way the color works up on this. This is what I love about variegated yarn. I just... so much prettiness in one ball of yarn. So 3 patchwork squares, 2 granny squares, and 2 corner to corner squares. I love it. This makes me happy. 2, 2, and 3. So silly. I dropped my pen and it bounced to the other side of the table. Okay, so what's next? Let's do a random bit. Okay, this is a random ball of yarn that my mom had sent up. I don't know the company. I don't know the color. But I made 3 patchwork squares out of it. Okay, I made 3 patchwork squares out of it. Sorry, I was moving the yarn tails out of the way. I like it. It's you know, 2 shades of pink. It's got a bit of a gray in there and a little bit of green. So I really like the way that worked up. It's nice and soft. It's squishy. Since I only have this ball, I will only make patchwork squares out of it. I won't do a granny square and I won't do a corner to corner square because there's not enough yardage here for that. So I will only make patchwork squares and I wanted to show it to you first before I finished using this up, okay? That one is done. Now let's see, there's another one too. Another one that came from my mom. It's in this color. Has no yarn label, so I don't know what it is. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did 7 patchwork squares because I don't think this is enough to get another one out of it. I'd have to add something else to it. But you see with this color yarn how I wind up with very different looking patchwork squares because they were long color changes. And it's a muddled effect. I mean, these colors all bleed into one another and I like it. Now, this one's got a little bit of everything in it. So that's another 7 squares we can add to our total. Try and get these random ones done real quick. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 patchwork squares. This yarn is Stitch Studio by Nicole that was sold by AC Moore at the craft store before it closed down in 2020. It went out of business. The color is called Flower. Okay, but they don't make it anymore. It's just, you know, you might be able to find some on eBay. So I got 4 out of it, and then a partial one. I worked until the ball of yarn was gone, and I think I need enough to make another row on it, and then it would be done. So I'll probably rip this out. But that's another one. Another little random ball of yarn that I'd gotten from my mom. All right. So here is, when I had done that yarn haul from my mom, there was these big hand wound balls of this color, and there was really 2 big ones and 2 smaller medium-sized ones. And we're pretty sure the consensus is that it's McCall from Red Heart Super Saver, but this was one of the smaller balls of yarn. So I was sitting and working with that and made some squares. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patchwork squares and 1 granny square. And I do like the color on this one. Yeah, see, aren't they cute? Okay, so I still have quite a few to go through, but I need to charge my battery, so I'm going to take a break. I'll catch up with you guys in a couple hours, okay? Hello. So it has actually been hours since I've sat here. I've been outside and I'm full of pollen and I feel a little bit headachy. Had to take a kid out to the dentist, but I'm home now. So where were we? Right, we're doing squares, right? And now I got to get my head back in the game. Here we go. Loops and threads impeccable. It is their Aran tweed. Okay, I use this for my granny square tutorial and my corner to corner tutorial, and then I sat and made some patchwork squares out of it. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patchwork squares. So you know, it's just when they say Aran tweed, it's got the little flecks of color in there. It's very subtle. Oh yeah. But I like it. It'll, when it's in the blanket, it'll give your eye some place to go and rest, since there's a lot of colors in variegated yarn. There is the granny square and the corner to corner square. So like I have this this perfect time of day that I can sit and film and do videos when the sunlight completely cooperates, and if I go past it, then the sun is actually hitting me in the face. Where is my pen? Okay, next color I have, still Loops and Threads impeccable, and it's called Apricot Multi. Multi just means multicolored. So there's white, yellow, and a peachy that goes into a kind of like a darker pink. So I didn't do too many squares with this one so far. There's 2 patchwork squares, and then there's a granny square, and then a corner to corner square. Okay, the reason I do these videos is I want to show you guys that there are so many other color options out there that maybe if you don't have a Michaels near you, you can go to michaels.com and order some. So, but this way you can at least see a small sample of what they look like when they're worked up. When they're worked up. Like they're all agitated or something. And me, because I live in the suburbs, I have access to so many stores that it's easy for me to get a hold of yarn, and then I do shopping online. I'm not afraid to buy the yarn online. So I just wanted to show you there's so many options out there, and I love lots and lots and lots of color, and I love my Patchwork Squares blanket. I can think it came out wonderful. It was just the look I was going for, and I want everybody to have a blanket like that. So that's why I do these videos and show you so many other colors and options that you have out there. And you know, a lot of this is the newer yarns anyway, because I feel bad, like so much of the yarn in my yarn stash is older, that it's been discontinued. So at least now you guys have a chance of actually getting some colors that are still actually made and out there. All right, so take a look at this color. This is called Rosewood. And I had this for another project. I worked it up in my waffle blanket. I had done a video with 2 waffle blankets. One was done in these colors. It was pink and tan and white with this variegated, and then a waffle blanket in blues, and I think I put them both in the same blanket. So this is what I had left over, and it's from, oh, this label is so beat up. It is Karen Jumbo, and the color is Rosewood. It's got packing tape all around it, and it came from the store like that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 9 patchwork squares, because I had a ball of yarn, and what I used up the whole thing. I only wound up with like a little bit left, so I made as many patchwork squares as I thought I could make, and I made 1 granny square and 1 corner to corner square. And this yarn, I love the color on this, and thankfully Karen still makes this color. So if you guys like 2 different shades of pink with some beige and some white, I don't think my camera's doing this justice, but this is a beautiful color. And the Karen Simply Soft, not Simply Soft, the Karen Jumbo, it works up really nice. So it was a pleasure to work with, and I think it looks really cute in these squares, right? So let me write this down on my little note, so because I'm counting these as I go. See, because like right now I feel like I have enough squares to do like 10 blankets, and I know that's an exaggeration. I know there's not enough squares to do 10 blankets, but I feel like there is, and I've kind of lost track of the colors that I've used, because I'm using the color just once and then moving on to the next one, and then I use that one and then I move on to the next one, because again, I like working with lots of color. It's what makes me happy. So, all right, this is a Vanna's Choice. This is something that I recently got at the thrift store, and the color is called Purple Print. Okay, it's got a heathered look to it, and it's while I say purple, there is purple in there, but then it's got like that charcoal gray. So there was 5 skeins of this, and that are new and unused, and then there was a partial. It's the partial that I used. And this is what I'm down to. The partial was only like maybe half a skein, and this is what is left. And I made 3 patchwork squares, and see how dark that came out? 3 patchwork squares, 1 granny square, and 1 corner to corner square. Now, I don't know why, but this version of Vanna's Choice is actually, it's a number 4 medium worsted weight, but it feels on the thicker end of a number 4. So these squares worked up just a little bit bigger than everything else, only because the yarn itself feels a little thicker. That's okay. It all works out in the end. Right? I mean, that's what I tell myself about everything. It all works out in the end. It's 3, 1, and 1. So here I've got another version of Karen Jumbo, and it's newer because you can see that the label now says Yarnspiration, because Yarnspiration they sell Karen, Red Heart, Bernat. What color did they call this one? Country Basket. So it's got those 2 or 3 different shades of blue that are more like a slate blue and a very earth toned blue with some white and some tan or beige. So it's like one of those big jumbo skeins that are 12 ounces. All right. So it's just like the rosewood, but in blue. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 patchwork squares. Because you can always tell when I like a color that I'll actually have more squares, patchwork squares of that color. Yeah, sorry. There we go. So there's 7 of these, and I like the way this one works up. Kind of reminds me of puppy dogs. I don't know, like dogs don't come in a blue color, but when I look at this, I'm reminded of puppy dogs. Strange, right? But I like it. So there's the patchwork squares, and I've only done 2 granny squares, and I haven't done a corner to corner square yet. But again, this yarn it's soft, and it's a pleasure to work with. Okay, see this color? See how bright that is? This was fun. It is Hirschner's worsted, and it's called Neon Lights. And I took a gamble on this. I saw it on their website, and the pictures on the website just do not do it justice. It's got a very vibrant shades of purple, blue, and I would say that is peach and mixed with black. Okay. This is, and besides the fact that it's pretty soft to work with, and it's a full 8 ounces of yarn, which 8 ounces is 489 yards. It does make the squares look a little busy because of how much color they got going on and how quick the color changes are. But I love it. I absolutely, it's so vibrant and in your face, and I love that. So I did 5 patchwork squares. Yeah, they are really busy, aren't they? They had other neon colors, and I think I will pick them up too, one at a time, because they were so much fun. And let's see, 2 granny squares. So granny square looks really busy. But can you imagine though, like when I get ready to put the 2 rounds of black on here, how that's going to make this just pop out? Oh yeah, that's going to look great. And then I did 2 corner to corner squares. And that looks really busy. But I'm really digging this. This is really cool. 2, 2, 2, 2, and 5. 2, 2, 5. Okay, I don't know. I did show you guys that, again, with a Karen Jumbo. Maybe I should just need to go buy one of every color. This, baby rainbow, I told you it reminds me so much of my grandma and the blankets that she made back in the 80s for all the babies. I did make, I don't know if I showed you, but I did make squares out of it. I don't know if they're going to make it into my patchwork blankets or not. Maybe as a nod to my grandma, maybe I'll put one in there. So I did 2 patchwork squares. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should put them in there. I did 2 granny squares, and just these colors, they're so classic and iconic for me. And since my grandmother was such a big influence on me with the crocheting, and she was my biggest educator, taught me, can't say everything I know, because I did learn so much after she had passed. I'm still learning every day. So here's a corner to corner square. I gotta tell you, I think my grandmother would really love YouTube and the internet and how everybody talks and shares their knowledge with crocheting. I think she really would have enjoyed that. All right, I really do love this color. I know other companies make a baby pastel version of this, but this one, it just reminds me so much of my grandma. So that was 2, 2, and 1. 2, 2, 1. Okay. My last color. Okay. Here's my plan. I want to do Christmas in July. Okay. Because you know, as crafters, whether you crochet or knit or embroider or quilt, that it takes time. And it takes sometimes a lot of time, especially if you're making gifts for multiple people. I mean, if you do it for one person, that's the best, right? But for multiple people, it takes a lot of time. So I think that's why Christmas in July can be very much a big thing in the crafting world, because it's a jump start on getting ready for the Christmas season or the giving season, right? So I have an idea in mind that I want to use my pattern for the patchwork square and make something Christmas themed. And I was working out numbers in my head, and in one of my, I think maybe my first video of the my yarn haul just weeks ago, I got a skein of Premier Basic Multi, and the color is Merry. All right, so on the 20th of April, I made up the whole skein of yarn, and the skein was 5 ounces, I want to say. Yeah, 5 ounces, 140 grams, 245 yards, 224 meters. I made up the whole skein of yarn into patchwork squares, and I got 19 squares out of it with just a tiny little bit of leftover. So these are my holiday themed patchwork squares. See that? I love this shade of red and this shade of green that they got in there. The green gives me a little bit of like a sage green, but darker, maybe like thyme. And this red, it's got a bit of claret and maroon in it, so it darkens up a little bit, and then the white. So I really like the way it worked up in the square. So there's 19 of them. Yeah, they wound up upside down. My cats knocked my squares over, which is why I'm doing this video, is so I can get these squares all tidied away and put away so they'll stop knocking them over and dragging them around the house. So my pile of squares is a little messed up. But yeah, there are 19 of them there. I am working on a project just for Christmas. I'm hoping to have the details all figured out, like how much yarn we need, what size hook would work best, and I'm working out all the numbers so we can, it's a blanket, because mind you, most everything I make is blankets, blanket related. So, you know, get yourselves ready. I'll do a video on it later on in May and June as a reminder, but we're going to be doing Christmas in July, okay? And I'll show you all the crocheted Christmas stockings that I have that were made by my mom, my grandmom, and my great-grandmother, and I'll show them to you so we can do a Christmas in July thing. So there's 19 more squares, but they're not being added to my total. Okay? And then I am working up a sample to show you guys how I put these squares together. All right? So I've done 9 squares, and I stitched them together in a row and then stitch them down in a column. Okay, so I'm working on this to show you how I plan on putting all my patchwork squares together and do a tutorial, and so that'll be coming soon. Okay, so let me do some math and see how many squares that was. Were you guys counting along with me to see how many squares that I have? Okay, so according to my little notes that I have here, I have 74 patchwork squares, 20 granny squares, and 15 corner to corner squares. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a small little break and get all of my patchwork squares together, lay them out on my bed, count them, lay them out on the bed, and see where I'm at with them. I need to see where I'm at, because the pattern is so addicting between the patchwork, the granny, and the corner to corner, that I could just keep making squares all day, every day, and just never have any idea how many I have done. So we're going to take a small break, and we're going to reassess and see where we are at, okay? And lay them out on the bed. So that'll be tomorrow. Don't you like? I said, that'll be tomorrow, and my camera went beep, 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 and it shut off. Beep, beep. All right, so yeah, I will catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll keep doing a thing, all right? Well, oh, hello, my yarny friends, my crochet friends. It has been days and days since that last clip. So I have some more squares that I've done, like this one. This wasn't a very big ball of yarn. I don't know the name or the color of it, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and this is what I've got left over. This was not enough to make a full square. I've got like 6 rows out of it, and then I frogged it. So here's some more squares, right? And then there's this. I do have a bit of that left over. Where did I put it? Now, This came from my mom, and I don't know if I showed you the first 2 squares I made. I made patchwork squares out of it, right? And then I did 3 more patchwork squares. Pretty color, right? And then I did 1 granny square and 1 corner to corner square. It's a good color. I like it. So this is what I've got left over. So it's just going in my pile of leftovers. I keep knocking everything over though. Right, so I've got some Red Heart Super Saver in the color Zebra. And while it's not technically vintage, it is years and years old. I found it at my thrift store, one of my thrift stores. So I made 2 patchwork squares out of it. And I'm pretty sure I've used this color already, but I think it just was wound up in a hand wound ball that didn't have a label on it. I made 2 granny squares. And I made 2 corner to corner squares. Now, because this is a little bit older version of Red Heart, I don't think it's all that old, but it's just old enough to be a bit scratchy. Not scratchy. It actually has, it's really weird. It's got like this waxy texture to it, which made it very hard to work with. It kept getting stuck on my hook. So I'm not quite sure what happened to this. Okay. And then about a week ago, I was like, well, let's go find a color that I haven't worked with yet. And I went into the mainstays that I got from Walmart in the purple shades. And I'm like, I don't think I've worked with this one. Yeah, I did. There's the skein on the shelf. There's the squares on the shelf. Turns out I already worked with this color. So I made 2 more patchwork squares, a granny square, and a corner to corner square. So like I've got to go through my squares and figure out what colors I've already used versus what colors I haven't used, because I've completely lost track. I really do need to learn how to put everything into a spreadsheet or put it in my computer. So I wanted to show you guys, like my mom has a vendor space in like an antique mall, but also handmade stuff. And there's somebody there that does these pillows. They're reading pillows. Now, and the woman makes them for little kids. They get to put their picture books. There's a pocket right here. They put their picture books in the pocket. And then they can, when they're ready to read, they sit with the pillow on their lap and they can read their books, right? So they were really adorable. And I'm like, Mom, does she do this in adult colors and make them a little bigger, right? Because when I'm reading a hardcover book, the hardcovers are, especially because I like fantasy and I read bigger books, right? They're getting kind of heavy in my hands. So I thought a reading pillow would be nice if I could sit this on my lap, sit my book on there so I don't have to hold all that weight in my hands. And I know you guys are going to say, go Kindle. I still like reading physical books, and I do read digital books. But for the physical books that I have, I need a pillow. So she asked the lady if she can do adult colors, and this is what the lady came up with. This tie-dye, which I love color. I love a lot of color. So tie-dye, right? Look at that. And this is the back part of the pillow where I can actually pull this open like a pillowcase and take the insert out so it can be washed. There's a little handle in case I want to carry it around with me. And then the pocket. It says, "Books are my happy place." And it's all quilted and embroidered. So do I need to stick my book in there and carry my books around? Yeah, my books are probably a little too big for it. But the thought is I can sit this on my lap and sit my books on top of it while I'm reading. And I wanted to share that with you because how cute is that? It's adorable. I love it. So my mom sent it to me in the mail, and it's been sitting here at the shelf, and Arlo and Bandit have they've been using it. So I do still plan on putting my patchwork squares out on the bed so we can see what it looks like, right? But right now I have to go out to the appliance store and buy a new washer because my washer officially broke. You know all that loud noise in the background when I'm filming because my washer sounds like an airplane? Well, it finally blew up and broke. So I gotta go do adult things, and I will catch up with you guys later. Oh, wait, gotta take my glasses off. Those are my driving glasses so I can see where I'm going. All right, so I'm in the minivan. I have a bunch of stuff in, I have a bunch of stuff in the back of my van that I'm donating to the thrift store. Because when I did that great yarn purge of 2023, in 2024, I'm doing the great house purge. I started in the kitchen. So it's plasticware, storage containers, water bottles. So that was where I started, and it's been rolling around in the back of my van. So I'm going to the thrift store to drop it all off, and then I might go inside and take a look and see if I can find some yarn, or see if they have any yarn. Not if I can find some, because I've got plenty. But this is I'm going to Good Stuff Thrift. It's the closest one to my house, and I want to show you the last time I was in there, they had a bunch of Karen Simply Soft. They had like 15 skeins of black and about the same amount of the fuchsia color, but I didn't buy any of it. I left it all there because I don't actually need any solid colors for anything. So I was really proud of myself for that. So it's Monday, April 29th, and we're having our first very, very warm day of the year. It's supposed to be like 87 today. So I'm sitting here with my windows down and no air conditioning on. So, woo! All right, I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Hi guys, so I'm home now, okay? I'm sitting in the air-conditioned house, okay? It's April. Why is it supposed to be like 87 degrees outside? I don't know. I do drive with my windows down, but by the time I get home, I'm soaked in sweat. So here I am cooling off, right? So I have to put some music over the clip in the thrift store because I had teenage girls behind me and they were giggling. So I got to put some music in that clip. All right, so did you see all that Karen Simply Soft that they had there? And I'm sorry, it wasn't black that they had. It was dark charcoal was the color, and then all that fuchsia. Did you see that? And then they had a whole bunch of Starbella yarn, and then they have 2 bins full of fabric. So I mean, the thrift stores have been pretty good lately, but I did come home with some fabric. This was 99 cents, and it's a big roll of fabric. There's quite a few yards in there, and it's got little Christmas presents on it. Did my camera focus? Yes, okay. Isn't that cute on the blue background? I like that. I like how much color is going on in here for Christmas fabric. And then I picked up this. It feels like a it feels like flannel. And again, this one was 99 cents. Let's see. How much is in there? They've got it rolled up pretty tight. And it's got the brown background, but with dragonflies and butterflies. I like the texture of it. So I picked that up because I really do want to try my hand at quilting. I get so much crochet inspiration from quilters, and I actually want to try my hand at it. So I pick up a few fabrics here and there. I don't want to go overboard like I have a tendency to do and buy all of the fabric and never actually learn how to do anything with it. So I'm just trying to have a little bit of fabric, and I have a sewing machine. I'm gonna watch more videos, and you know, I want to dabble in making a quilt. So I did buy 1 ball of yarn, or a cake of yarn. It's from Red Heart. It's called It's a Wrap. It's a Wrap Rainbow. 55% acrylic and 45% cotton. Because 623 yards, 5.29 ounces. All right, so it's a number 1 fingering weight on our weight chart, okay? And what it is, it's not wound up like traditional yarn is all twisted together, but these strands or plies just kind of sit next to each other. And how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's 4 ply. There's 4 strands of yarn or thread all put together. I like these colors. I am starting to find some number 1 fingering weight yarn or sock weight yarn or lace weight yarn. It does have multiple names. What it is it's thicker than sewing thread, but the thinnest yarn on our weight chart. I am trying to find number 1s because I want to make myself a sweater, but I don't want to use bigger, bulkier yarns because I'm a bigger, bulkier person, and then by the time you're done, you're like Randy in the Christmas Story movie where he can't put his arms down because mom's got him all up in the snowsuit, right? I get like that. And I'm also very broad in the shoulders, so I don't want thick, heavy yarn for a sweater. I want the smaller lace weight yarns. So when I've been finding, and I have found quite a few at the thrift store, I've been putting them off to the side because I want to make myself a sweater. And I don't know the first thing about crocheting a sweater, and I don't know how to knit. So if you guys have ever made sweaters with crocheting, let me know down in the comments below if you've made one, and then what your favorite stitch is for it, because I don't know yet. I'm still in the planning stages. Okay, so I dropped stuff off at the thrift store to donate. I picked some stuff up. Hopefully it all balances out in the end, right? Okay, so I haven't laid the squares out on my bed yet. It's coming. I need my air conditioner put into my bedroom because my bedroom's upstairs and all the heat in the house just goes straight upstairs. So while my air conditioner unit is on for the whole house, it's not quite cool enough up there for me. So hopefully this weekend, get my air conditioner out of the shed, put it in my window, and then I can lay all my squares out on the bed. So I put away my number 4 medium worsted weight yarn for the moment. And I started making squares with a number 3 light yarn or DK weight. I prefer the words DK. I mean, that's how you ladies in the UK refer to it. I prefer that term versus a number 3 light. I like the term DK weight. So this is what I've got. And I gotta tell you, my favorite color combination is this right here. It is a very light shade of pink with a very light shade of orange and some white. And it's my favorite color combination. And it's so weird because it's Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Take a look at their logo. It's pink and it's orange. And then, because I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, every year the Thanksgiving Day Parade happens in the city, and they put it on ABC or for Channel 6 for those of us who are local. And Dunkin' Donuts is a sponsor of the parade, and they give out hats that are made out of fleece, sometimes little scarves, and I always want a Dunkin' Donuts hat, but I never actually go down to the parade. I always watch it on TV. So the pink and the orange seem to be a very favorite color combination of mine, and I found it in this yarn, right? I found this yarn in the thrift store years and years and years ago. It's just been sitting in my stash. It is from Red Heart, and it's their baby TLC, right? So there's the label. It is a number 3 light. I find this really weird. The recommended hook size for this yarn. I'm going to put on my reading glasses. Hold on. Because I find this very interesting. Because they, right here in this little graphic here, it shows you the yarn weight, knitting needles, crochet needles, or crochet hooks, the temperature for the washer, whether it can be ironed, dry cleaned, if you can use bleach or not. So that's like how you're supposed to take care of it, right? But right here for hooks and needles, they're recommending a 5.5 millimeter, which here in the US we use letters. It's an I. I would never use a 5.5 millimeter and an I with a number 3 light yarn, with a DK weight yarn. I would never. I would use the smaller hooks, a D, E, F, maybe a G, but I don't think I'd go any higher than an F, because your stitches will wind up too big and too loose. This is a very thin yarn, and it's light on the end of light, you know? So I would never use a hook size that big. So what hook size am I using? That's right. I'm using a D, which is a 3.25 millimeter. It's the smallest hook I can hold in my hands. Hey, baby. Without getting all cramped and all that. So I have switched to using DK weight yarn to make some squares. I started yesterday, which was Sunday, April 26th, 27th, 28th. Pick a number. I have no idea. So here we go. I've got 4 patchwork squares from yesterday. So I am using my patchwork squares pattern. It is still a chain of 15, working in the 3rd chain from the hook. So I've got 13 half double crochets and I've got 9 rows. Okay, so it's the same pattern, just smaller yarn, smaller hook. And look at that orange and that pink together. Oh, it's killing me. It's so adorable, right? Hello, Arlo. Hi. Do you want to come up and say hi? Come here, baby. Ready? Come on up. Come on up. Show everybody how you like to climb up on me. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we say hi to the camera. You do know I'm working, right? He's down on my microphone. See if we can get him to purr for you. You're such a good boy. You're such a handsome boy. Yes, you are. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Can you see yourself? Oh, I read somewhere online that, you know, when cats look at a reflection of themselves in the mirror, they don't recognize themselves. Dogs can, but cats don't. And I found that interesting. I'm like, when do they ever get to look in a mirror so they can recognize themselves, right? Yeah. All right, let's sit down. There we go. Okay. So, 4 patchwork squares out of this yarn. And then I did 4 granny squares. Uh-oh. Did I drop one? Get so distracted by the cats. Alright, so here we go. There we go. Look at these little granny squares. They're so dainty, right? How adorable is that? And the size, the granny square came in at exactly 3 inches, and I think my patchwork squares are a little smaller than that. I mean, look at these little granny squares. Oh, I might take a break from working with the number 4 medium worsted weight yarn for a little while and have some fun with some, you know, back in the day, we did call this sport weight yarn. We called it baby weight yarn. I'm just going to call it baby yarn. So maybe I'm going to spend some time with some baby yarn, right? Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so Red Heart Baby TLC. I'm pretty sure they don't make this anymore. And the color is called Strawberry Orange. So I had to take the label off because if you've noticed, this skein is falling apart, right? This is all loose from the outside. I'm actually going to sit down with my yarn winder and wind it up. So if you guys want a very pretty, very soft baby color with some pink that doesn't have yellow, green, purple, or blue with the traditional colors, but with the orange and the white, this is so adorable. It is so soft. Soft as a yarn and soft as a color. Okay, I do like soft colors. As much as I like color, I like soft colors. So, let's see. 4 ounces, 113 grams, 242 yards, 222 meters. Okay, maybe somebody on eBay or Etsy has got some. Maybe somebody's got it in their stash at Ravelry. I mean, I paid $2 for it at my local Salvation Army years and years and years ago. But I love this stuff, and even I'm going to hit the internet and see if I can't find more of it. So I made 4 granny squares yesterday, 4 patchwork squares, and then today, I've been a little busy today. I went to see my dentist for having those teeth removed. Everything is healing wonderfully. So this is a month and a half later now. Everything's healing fantastic. I go back in another month so he can do a mold and make some fake teeth for me, which I'm excited about that. So today, in between, before I left this morning and after I came home from cooling off from being outside, I made 2 more patchwork squares. And I made 2 more little granny squares. And I'm about ready to switch over to another color. I'm going to go see what's in my stash, pick another color, and make some more baby stuff, okay? Am I going to make corner-to-corner squares? Probably not, because I don't think the corner-to-corner squares would lend themselves really well to what I'm doing with these. I think the weight is too light of the yarn. I mean, it'll still work up wonderfully in a corner to corner, but it's not what I want. I want dainty little patchwork squares and dainty little granny squares, okay? That's what I want right now. So that's our update for today. It's going to be turning into a little bit of like a lifestyle vlog, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go sit and crochet and do some more stuff. I'll catch up with you guys later, all right? Here we go, my little crochet friends. I caked it up. So I've already used half of the skein. I've used 2 ounces. This is the last 2 ounces all wound up in a nice little cake, right? Now you can see those colors. Aren't they gorgeous? So my yarn winder is just a little tabletop one from Loops and Threads, which is Michael's. I bought this 10, 15 years ago. I have no idea. So I just sit it on my lap, and yeah, it bounces around a lot, but you know. So there we go. Nice little cake of yarn. Okay, my crochet friends, it is now what is today? Today's Tuesday. Last day of April. This video was filmed over a period of a week, okay? There is a new washer in my house. We did that Saturday. I have been crocheting. I've been busy. I've made another basket. I started working out the numbers for Granny in Rows using the Premier Puzzle yarn. And I have not taken my squares upstairs and put them on the bed yet and lay them out. So I'm going to call it quits here, because as it is, this video is now 55 minutes long. And I know that's okay, because I know you guys just put me on in the background, just listen to me be my silly old self while you're working on your projects, and that's absolutely okay with me. So this is my lime green shirt, okay? This is my let's get the chores done around the house shirt, and I'm not supposed to wear this out in public. This is really just for being in the house, right? So I might have some chores I might have to do before I sit down and crochet some more. So I had fun doing this video. I did lose complete track of what I said in the video, what I did, where I was at. I lost complete track until I sat down and put it in my editing software to take a look and see what I said versus what I didn't say. So, yeah, Christmas in July, we're going to do that, right? I've made squares. I have no idea how many squares I have. Haven't laid them out on the bed yet. So yeah, let's call it quits here. No! Bandit's laying in his bed. Shh, he heard me say his name. Let's turn the camera. But don't pay attention to the mess on the floor, okay? Shh. Let's take a look at Bandit in his bed. Okay, now let's zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Somebody was smart enough to put his bed up on the chair. So that's what we call Bandit's chair. I mean, we can use it when he's not in it, but that's Bandit's chair. And look at him on his little crocheted bed that I made him. Who did that? Yeah, but I can't say his name or anything, because then he'll get up and he'll walk away. Such a good boy. So whoever in my house did that, very clever, because now he'll know that it's his bed, and when it's laying on the floor, he can lay in it. Yeah. Okay. So with my creative mind, I'm right in the thick of all the creative juices flowing right now, and I'm bouncing around from project to project to project. So I have to calm myself down. That's why I write so many notes to myself. All right, I know this is the longest outro ever. Now I'm gonna go take a picture of all the squares on the shelf, okay? All right, I will lay those squares out on my bed. That will be the next video, okay? We'll make it a video all by itself. And you know how much I love you guys. I'll catch you down in the comments below. You can also find me on Instagram. We can chat on Instagram. You can always send me an email. I do chatting in my email too. So grannysquarepeg@gmail.com, grannysquarepeg at Instagram. All right, and I will catch you guys later. You know to keep being your awesome selves. And if this is out of focus, oh well, hopefully it's not out of focus. Now, y'all see my shelves? There's no room for the books anymore. All right, I love you guys. Bye.